Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf the Podcast, a serial killer drama.
Hello, this is the awkward bit at the start of the show where I try and get through as much information as I possibly can because there's loads of information in the show notes, the description thing at the bottom, and you can go and click on those and you can do loads of things. This week, we'd like to have a big thank you out to Jim Merck. We were on his podcast, the Old Man's Podcast, earlier in the week. You can go through and listen to that. I'll leave a link on the description-y thing. Today, he's playing a role that we are very grateful him to play. He's playing himself, but he's really good. Well, he would be, wouldn't he? But yeah, he's a podcaster of repute. He has radio shows around the world. Go and listen to his podcast. I really love it. And somehow he manages to nearly do it every day, which is just crazy for me. We've got great news on the merchandising front coming up. I'll fill you in with more on that next week. Other than that, enjoy the show. And as always, we love you.
Lucy. This little wooden cup was a strange thing to hold in my hand. It was strangely out of place in this mental version of hell. This was all strange. I sat at my Edwardian bees-wax-polished desk that hadn't existed a few moments ago, and toyed with the cup of Christ. My little cat jumped on the desk and looked at me with inquiring eyes. "That does not feel right," she told me, using her tail to point at the vessel in my hand. "What is it?" she continued. I smiled as I stared at it. I paused a little too long. "It's a problem," I told her and sighed. She shivered. "I thought so from the vibe it gives. Is it a problem for us?" she asked. I laughed. "Yes and no. This is the Holy Grail. This item could turn me from one of Dad's fallen to an actual god. Enough people believe in me. The faith is there. I just need to drink from it," I told her. "What's the problem then?" she asked as I placed it on the table. "It's a problem because I feel like maybe I might, in a moment of weakness, use it myself."
This one goes out to William the Professor. Hell's the place where you belong.
Well, so that was what everyone was worried about, was it? I said to the professor as he sat at the bar in the Phaeton Arms. The professor had his head in his hands and slowly and wearily lifted it from them. He looked tired and drawn, but would that stop me from being irritating? Nah, why would it? That! I pointed again at the purple-haired little fairy lady in the glass box.
Yes, Will,
said the professor, in a somewhat exacerbated tone. He knew what I was trying to achieve, and he couldn't be bothered by it, although I had kindled a small spark of anger in him.
Do you know how bloody close we were to that? How close that psychotic creature came to being a new god?
He asked. His weariness had gone suddenly, and he knew I was getting him to rise to this so that he wouldn't be so fucking miserable.
You, sir, are a cad and a bounder, but your endeavours to inspire some cheer, however broken, are appreciated. But remember...
He pointed to the box.
Remember that she also had you restrained in a chair and was going to train you as her lapdog.
I laughed at this. Yeah, he was right. We sat for some time now, both smiling and staring at our slowly emptying glasses, listening to the music over the bar's out-of-place futuristic speakers. The professor laughed as he took another sip.
I genuinely forgot the spoons and a washboard were a worthy rhythm section,
said the professor, nodding along to the tune.
What is this, Posy?
He asked a pink, glowing djinn who was holding court with several elves at the other end of the bar. Bozzy returned.
What's this?
That's me child 20 years old, I think, Simon.
No, the music, it's good.
Oh, yeah. Guy has podcasts with good music on it. Came across him because he's like us, said Bozzy.
Like us?
Yeah, he's an old man, and he has excellent taste, just like us. In fact, that is what he has cunningly called his show, the Old Man Podcast. I suppose at our age it would be Ye Oldie Man, but he does not butt into music, and I like that. Well, not unless he really feels like it, and I can also respect that. Simon raised the glass in thanks to the genie before turning back to me to continue with our conversation.
You know what the hardest part of this job is, Will?
The prof asked me. The hours? I laughed, as did he.
No, actually, it's the secrecy. Often, I wonder if it would just be better all round if it all got out there, you know? If all this paranormal was somehow, normalised. The supernatural just became natural, in the public consciousness.
Well, no, why can't it become the normal? I asked him. He turned to me, a look of puzzlement across his face. He started a sentence and stopped and looked at me and blinked. He started another sentence and stopped and looked confused.
I don't actually know.
He laughed, taking a drink and swirling it around his mouth.
But those are the rules,
he said, pointing to the sky and using a gesture to sort of denote who his boss was up there.
Anyway, I need to go and,
He paused. I get fed up with his politeness at times. Take a piss? I said. Again, he laughed. He got down from the stool, patted me on the shoulder and wobbled his way to the toilets. As he left, I considered what he'd said. Would it not be great? Would it not be a great world if all this was part of it? The other beings, the magic, the Fey world. Could I just be an accepted thing? Oh, he's a werewolf, people would say, and other people would have to point out that they were just being cryptist. Is that right? Is racist? So maybe cryptist is? I don't know. Fen was lying on a bench some distance away. He was snoozing as only a wolf can. He snoozed in it's a terrifying manner, and all the other denizens of the pub were distancing themselves from that seat. Even if they couldn't see him, they actually felt him. No, he flashed into my mind. No what? I asked him. Don't do it, Fen told me. But, no, hear me out, but the professor would never tell the world and I would be doing him a favour. You heard him. I would be like, that pink robe bloke. I mean, what is he? I would be granting a wish like him because he's a genie. And it's not like God wants anything to do with me, is it? I tried to explain. Don't do it, Will, the giant soul said. Okay, I said to him. It's not possible anyway. No one would believe me if I told him, and took another sip of the good stuff. The music broke and a voice came over the program.
All right, we'll get back to the music in just a minute. Well, what do you know? Have you seen this news from around the world? Lost kids from over the last 3 years have been turning up at home. That's right. Somehow they're not aged and they can't remember where they've been. It's not just one or two either. We're talking hundreds of kids. I wish the government would explain that. There must be someone out there that can explain this. Now that would be the whistleblower I would want to talk to.
He continued.
In fact, my number is in the show notes. Look at that number. Give me a call if you have any ideas about how this is happening. I want to hear from you. I want to hear your thoughts and your opinions. Give me a call. Call now.
I smiled and picked up my phone and opened Google. Other search engines are available. Don't fucking do it, Will, said the wolf soul. I ignored him. Sometimes an evil, sadistic bastard has to be an anti-hero in order to help a friend. The show went back to music and I phoned the number.
Studio One, this is Jim. Are you calling about the news?
The voice on the other end asked. I sure am, I told him.
Hold up. Wait until the end of this song, and we'll hear your theory. I only ask that you keep the language on the nice side of clean, if that's okay with you, because we are a family-friendly show.
No problem, I told him. I waited on the line for the tune to finish and heard Jim tell his audience that he had someone on the line that could help us understand what had just happened in the world. I waited patiently, hoping that the professor was doing a long drop at the toilet. He'd taken his phone, so I guessed he would be taking his time.
Okay, line one. I didn't get your name.
The host said. Will, I told him.
So, Will, what can you tell us about this?
The kids were being held by a group of fairies called the Fairy Foundation. I paused and there was a silence at the other end of the line, so I continued as quick as I could. The Fairy Foundation controlled the trafficking of fairy dust, which is like a proper strong drug in the Fey world, I continued. I heard the man on the other side of the world take a breath to respond, but then think better of it. He would just let this crazy person continue. This was great content. As you probably know from the old folklore, fairies need to be believed in to exist, so their numbers have fallen over the recent decades due to, well, a lack of belief. So one of their number decided to take it into their own hands to help the fairy nation. There was silence. I don't think he knew what to do. So they stole kids and forced them to believe in them. I won't go into details because it's unpleasant and not family friendly, but let's just say that it's not done in the nicest of ways with, like, can you imagine, parties and lashings of jelly and ice cream, but by general lashings. I paused.
Okay.
Was the only word the man was capable of. Who could blame him? He was talking to an obvious maniac. The children have been returned due to the intervention of a team of supernatural law enforcers, which, do you know what, I am sort of a part of.
Did you say supernatural law enforcers?
The man said. I could hear the cynicism in his voice. Yeah. Obviously, it's led by a 12th century immortal knight who is working for God. Silence again at the other end of the line. I think he was quite stunned, was this bloke, so knowing that, dead space in a show is bad, I continued. Oh, and by the way, I'm a werewolf, and the other parts of his rescue team were a werecat, and as I said, the immortal expert, him, well, when I say this team, I have to say that the members of this team, it varies, depending on the job, and there's loads of jobs, you won't believe it. Well, you probably don't believe it, but it's true. The team and its players change, and they're all very, proper secretive about it, I told him in plain speech. The host was able to speak finally.
Well, they would be,
he said dismissively.
Fairies?
He continued.
We're talking fairies?
He repeated. Yeah, fairies, I qualified.
Buddy, I don't know what you've been taking, but thank you for one hell of a story. You should write that in a book or something.
I butted into his sentence. I can prove it, I told him. There was some dead quiet time now.
No, you can't,
he told me in no uncertain terms. I blinking well can, I reassured him.
Okay, how?
He asked. Well, I'm sitting at a bar in the fairy world. The interviewer now butted in.
Well, I have no doubt you're at a bar, buddy. And I'm thinking that you've had too many little cheeky sips right now.
No, I get it. But no, look, I don't have much time, so let's turn this WhatsApp conversation into a video and I can prove it, I told him.
Well, that's a pretty bold statement, so I tell you what, let's do it,
the man said. I changed the call to video and smiled at him. He was indeed an older gentleman with grey flowing beard and a hint of humour in his eyes.
Okay, let's get this going. Hey, hello. Will, was it?
He said. Yeah, I replied.
So, for the audience listening, I now have Will, the werewolf, on my screen. He does not look a bit werewolfy at all, which is a shame.
He announced. No, wait a minute, I told him, a little harassed. I picked up the foxglove tank and showed it to the phone's camera. See this? See this? This is a fairy, I told the man, taking the camera back to me.
Okay, listeners, listen up. Will has showed me a glass box with what looks like a fairy doll lying at the bottom.
He told his audience before addressing me once more.
I don't know, man. Looks like a little prop. That's what it looks like. It looks like a doll in a glass display case. Come on, Will.
I shook the box, which brought Foxglove into action. She was now super pissed off and was firing magical bolts and fluttering her wings while shouting and screaming obscenities, which, luckily for the family-friendly show, we could not hear because of the nature of the box.
I don't know. That's a pretty good trick right there. That ain't real, though.
He laughed.
You know, I've seen all kinds of magic shows in Las Vegas, man.
I had to think, how was I going to do this? Oh, I know. Okay, well, you got to believe this. I swung the phone so the camera would take a sweep of the room where I was sitting. There were 2 orcs in the corner, a party of gnomes gambling at cards, and a bogeyman and a mix of other creatures arranged around the room. I finished my sweep at the bright pink robe of the djinn as he spoke to the elves at the end of the bar. See that pink guy? Him? That pink guy there, he's the owner. He's a retired genie. He's about 8,000 years old. Those things with him are elves, I told the man on the line.
Okay, listeners. Will is showing me around the bar. He's panning the bar with his camera so I can see. And I got to tell you, that has some incredible things in it. They're like, you know, creatures from fairy tale.
Again, he described what he'd seen to the listeners.
I got to tell you, Will, I've been to some cosplay events, and you've got one of the best ones I've seen going on there right now, man.
He said, laughing.
Are you doing that LARPing thing? You know, dressing up as elves and hitting each other with foam swords?
It was partially a rhetorical question. No, this is all real, I told him as I was talking to someone daft. I was getting proper exasperated now. How could I prove it?
I tell you what, Will, you're a werewolf, yeah?
He said. Yeah? I said, a little angrier than I should have been, really, but turning the camera back to me, I smiled.
Well, it just so happens that I am a great fan of werewolves. I tell you what, you show me your transformation right here, right now, on camera, and I won't have a choice but to believe you, would I?
He said laughingly. He must have thought that he caught me out because my doing that said transformation would of course be impossible. Even with modern CGI and things, I would have had to take some time to set it up, before, and loads of time to organise it. So there's no chance I was going to do that, was there? Is that all I've got to do? I asked him. I was a little shocked at actually how easily that, I would convince him. I hope you bloody know what you're doing, said Fen, my wolf soul. Not at all, I sent back. All right then, he said, rolling off his bench. Fen then wandered over to me laughing and we transformed. He became a black mist that my body absorbed, and then instantly we changed to the black-haired werewolf with the blazing yellow eyes that I love. Just sitting on a bar stool. Bit odd, but werewolves sometimes do it. Surprisingly, this transformation went without comment in the room. As you can imagine, this wasn't the most bizarre thing to happen in that room ever, so they just ignored it. The man on the other end of the line was sort of the opposite. He was stunned. I could see that.
Jeez. I have to say, people, that I just saw a man turn into a werewolf. Good night. I know it makes no sense. It doesn't make no sense to me, and this is no prank of my doing. That man became a werewolf right in front of me. I can't explain that. That was not a camera trick. This is no special effects. That was...
Well, I had to go for a pee-pee, and that's just how it goes. Sometimes it's just a trickly thing, and other times it flows.
Behind me, the professor wandered back into the room, somewhat satisfied with his time away. What he wasn't ready for was he wasn't ready for me, in my werewolf form, to be on my phone. He sort of stopped and gulped for a moment, and then he heard the host over the radio.
That was real, which must mean, ooh, oh my goodness, that the whole story he's been telling us is true. It can't be. This is incredible. I swear on the good Lord's right hand that I am not trying to trick anyone.
The professor went white and then into action.
Will, what are you doing?
He asked me as I returned to my human form, although now naked. I did it for you, I told him. The host continued to speak in the background. He was telling his audience how he was going to upload the footage from the conversation to YouTube and that he wanted everyone to see this.
Oh, man. This is going to blow up. This is going to go viral. This could break the darn internet right now, people, I'm telling you. I mean, you gotta believe me. This is real. I'm gonna be rich,
he told his listeners.
What were you thinking, man?
Yelled the prof.
Will!
You can thank me when you calm the fuck down, Simon, I told him. He ran over and went to slap me, but thought better of it.
Posy!
He yelled at the pink robe of the djinn, who turned to face him with empty robes.
This bloody idiot just announced everything to the whole wide world, and he's given them proof to boot.
That's not a thank you, I wickedly told the man. What do you need? Asked the djinn.
Look, wherever this chap Jim is, I need to go there, wherever that is. You get me?
He said, pointing to the speaker that the announcer was continuing to disclose facts about the things that he'd sort of seen through.
Bloody Faunt's gone back to the manor, so we can't transport her there with me because of the stupidly good job I did at stopping that sort of stuff from happening.
He continued.
I need someone other than me, you understand, to do the killing bit. I mean, it's an act of murder. I'm really not supposed to do the killing of the innocent people, the aforementioned acts of murder. I mean, it's part of my job description, you know, as an employee of our Lord and Saviour, Jesus Christ himself. So I was wondering, Bozzy, do you know where Sally is?
He asked the djinn. The hooded figure nodded.
Can you get her there with me?
He asked the genie again, pointing at the speakers that would continue to talk about the situation. The host of the show at this point had someone new on the line that was agreeing that it all made sense, and I smiled. The djinn nodded at the prof. I'll get you there, Simon, he told him. The professor now turned to me, and I could see that he was, let's just say, slightly perturbed.
See you. Oh, I don't even have the vocabulary to tell you how much I dislike you right now. But suffice to say, it's a very great deal.
Then he disappeared. Silence again, except for the host of the show and his phone call, which continued for a few seconds, and then we could hear someone banging, on something at the other end of the, what would you call it? The radio? I don't know. It must have been a door as we heard it open and the host respond.
How the hell did you get in here?
He asked whoever it was.
Hello, old chap. I'm sorry to be the bringer of bad news, but, Sally, dear, would you mind doing the needful? And for the avoidance of doubt, I do mean to go do that voodoo that you do whenever you do that voodoo that you do so well. If you get me.
Sally, is it? Oh, Sally, aren't you quite the bowl of peaches?
And so, Sally, it's over to you.
Something slammed into the room and the host started screaming as a snarling thing I could recognise as a werewolf tore into him. The sounds were, well, quite literally ripping and tearing.
Oh dear. Oh, sorry about that.
Was heard over the horrendous noises. As this went on, we could hear the professor as he talked himself out loud.
Oh dear. I really am, honestly, utterly sorry about that old chap. Still, can't be helped. Right. Bloody modern technology. How do I turn this off and get rid of the... Oh, God, if only I had one of those youngsters here. You know, the Gen Zs, or Gen Z, perhaps. They could probably show me how all this works.
The background noise is sort of finally and thankfully stopped.
Ah, yes, here we go. People of this, program thing. What a wheeze that was, Jim's such a practical joker. Phew, can you imagine how hard it was for him to set that all up? What a topical prank. Well done him, eh? Right, Sally, yes. You'd better take my jacket, my dear. Cover you up. That's better. Now tell me, old girl, how do I turn this bloody thing off? Ah, yes. Right, there it is.
Silence. I laughed. This was fucking hilarious. After a few moments, the professor appeared sitting on his stool and breathing heavy. I could see by his demeanour that he was not in a good mood. I looked around for Sally, but sadly she weren't there. I sat quietly. I didn't want to spoil his train of thought, his stewing and a brewing. Eventually he turned towards me, and I could tell he was just managing to stay on the right side of
utterly losing it,
as he would say.
You are an utter bastard,
he told me as he reached for his glass and threw its contents down his throat, holding the now empty glass up for Fliss, the barkeep, for a refill. The gin floated over. I could tell he was also proper annoyed due to the, raging flaming colours of his robes. It was easy to read his body language, even though he didn't actually have one you could see. You okay, Simon? He asked the prof.
No, I'm bloody not, thank you very much,
Simon said. There was a moment of quiet while Fliss refilled his glass. Once the glass had a good measure, she went to take the bottle back. Simon stayed her hand and took the bottle from her with a smile.
Thank you, Fliss,
he told the elf as he filled the large tumbler right to the top and sank its entire contents before then refilling it again. What's that gonna do, Simon? I could hear the concern in the gin's voice. The professor sank the next glass of spirit and sighed deeply.
You know what, Bozzy?
He told the robed genie.
I'm going to have a nice long rest at the Priory,
he said. The hood turned to me and shrugged. But that's that place for addicts and alcoholics, he told the professor. Didn't you just come out there clean as a whistle not much more than 6 months ago, Simon, didn't you?
I did indeed,
said the immortal man.
Which, as you can see, is an imbalance I'm endeavouring to redress with each and every glass,
he said.
Now, Fliss, might I trouble you for another bottle of the 20-year-old, my dear? In fact, whatever's left in the cellar, you'd probably best reserve it for me if you'd be so kind. I can't have some other blighter getting their chops around the good stuff. Now, if you don't mind, I'll be over there in that corner, making like Michael Stipe and getting on with the task at hand. Oblivion and the Priory await.
Brought to you in association with Grendel Press. This is Werewolf the Podcast, a serial killer drama.